for us here. Just to introduce myself, my name is Stephanie Schleicher. I'm a customer success manager with Integral, and I'll be facilitating the panel interview today. We'll have all of our MIWs do a quick introduction on themselves, tell us a little bit about who they are and how they got to where they're at today. Then we'll get into our questions. And then at the end, we will have time for some questions from the audience. So if you think of any questions throughout the event, go ahead and put those in the chat. Or you can wait until the end as well. And just include too, if you do want to ask a specific MIW that question, just go ahead and include that in your submission as well. But with that, we will go ahead and start with introductions. We will have Lori go first.
Hello, everyone. Lori Barrington here. Currently, my role is the Vice President of Delivery at ICAR. So what that means is myself and my team help to deliver all of the training that ICAR offers across the industry. So I have a team of approximately 6 regional managers that help us to manage the instructors within those regions. I also have a train the trainer department. I have a scheduling team, also manage the operations aspect of the tech center in Appleton, Wisconsin, as well as the fulfillment or our warehouse in Appleton, Wisconsin. So kind of a broad-based role there, but it all has to do with delivery really of the training that we provide to the industry. I've been with ICAR for 36 years. It doesn't feel like 36 years. It feels like it's been much shorter than that. So it goes by fast. Enjoy everything that you do. But I've been fortunate to be with the same organization throughout my whole career, which has really, helped me grow in my career, given me a lot of opportunity and supported me. And I think obviously that's very important. Otherwise, I wouldn't still be with ICAR. But I've had different roles within ICAR, including operations manager, facility manager, project management was probably my main role for the entire organization, starting a PMO, project management office, before I took the delivery role on. So lots of different roles that I've had, which is good for an individual and it gives you a lot of exposure. So welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Lori. Next, we'll have Kathy go.
And so I'm Kathy Coffey, and I work for AkzoNobel. And similar to Lori, I've been there 37 years. So as she's saying, multiple roles, and I certainly have a lot of that as well. I started out as a staff accountant. I'm now what we call a key account manager, working with our largest customer in order to be sure that their needs are met. Similar, once again, to Lori, that the time goes fast. Sometimes the days are long, but the years fly by. But really happy to be here. Been involved with WIN for a long time, and happy to be on this call today. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining. We will have Melissa go next.
So my story, I think, starts a little bit different than everybody else's. I knew nothing about cars, was not interested in cars. My mind was always on the medical field. I just knew I was going to be in the medical field. That I started going to college for physical therapy with a minor in sports medicine of all things. Then, unfortunately, I met my husband and things, started progressing downhill. So, you drop the chemistry anatomy classes and you start taking volleyball, team handball. It's, it's a slippery slope from there. Didn't help that I was also during that time diagnosed with narcolepsy. So I thought, kind of a physical therapist am I going to be if I'm asleep in the corner and telling somebody they got to do these exercises while I'm over here taking a nap? So kind of a complete change of career path. I started at an independent appraisal company in '98. Back in the days where there were pagers, there weren't cell phones. So we literally had to call the customer, get directions, and type in on a pager so that the guys could go out and assess a vehicle, the damage on a vehicle. I would go to, I think it was Walmart, get film developed of the damage, tape it down on pieces of copy paper with the estimate, and mail everything to the insurance company. So we've come a long way just in my my career span, I guess you'd say. I have worked with 3 of the big MSOs. I've been with Classic Collision now for 9 years. I'm the director of OE certifications, so I handle everything OE. I love it. Wouldn't change anything, wouldn't trade it for the world. I do tease my husband though that I had to marry him to get my MD title with my initials. So I did win there. I am an MD and I love my job. So welcome everybody, and you're in the right place. Please feel free to ask any questions. We're here to support and mentor you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Melissa, for sharing that. And next we will have Jamie go.
Hello, I'm Jamie Shackelford, and just to give you a little bit about me, my career has always been in the business to business world, and that's really been shaped by, I'll call it a deep love for strategic insights, storytelling, and making data-driven decisions. So I've worked in a variety of industries, so manufacturing, distribution, and so bring some other kind of perspective into this industry. And at Caliber Collision, I work on connecting market trends with our stakeholders' needs while also supporting our teams as they work closely with our partners. And I'm fortunate enough to have a powerhouse of women on my team that really make the magic happen. And I feel like the new kid on the block. I've been a solid 3.5 years here at Caliber, so newer to the industry, but drinking from a fire hose in the most amazing way. And I'm excited to be a part of this discussion today, and I'm so glad everyone's here.
Thanks, Jamie. Thank you everyone for those intros. I always love hearing how people get involved in the collision industry. It seems like everyone's got a little bit of a different story. But we will go ahead and get into the questions now. The first question is for Lori. Are there any mentors who helped you through your career? And if so, how did you seek them out and how did they guide you?
Yeah, I have been really fortunate to have a few different mentors in my life. There's 2 of them that I would say really stand out, and there's been others. One key mentor started out as really we were friends, right? Through working together, and even though we had very different roles, just through the normal time of, going to lunch or, spending some time together after the workday over a few drinks or whatever, just through that normal time, we really started to discuss positively and productively different challenges and different opportunities that we had, that we were seeing, different from each perspective, but yet kind of the same. And it was really just, it became, a mentoring of each other and a support system of, here's how I would handle this, or here's, you might want to try this communication style or whatever. So, we just really enjoyed collaborating together and learning from each other. And I think that's, from a mentor perspective, no matter who the mentor is or the mentoree, there's always something to be learned on either side of it. Another mentor that really changed my trajectory, I feel, in my career was a former boss who has since retired. But even though he's my boss, I really did, probably the best boss ever, I really did consider him a mentor. I actually still reach out to this individual today, even though he's been retired for several years. The individual he really taught me initially that it's okay to be unique. It's okay to have your own ideas. It's okay to challenge the status quo. It's really okay to stand up for what you believe in, as long as it's done in a productive, professional manner. But up until that point, I had always kind of felt like, oh, I must be really different, and maybe I'm not really so good at this job because I kind of oppose a lot of things, right? Or at the time I did. So it was a learning experience for me, but he really instilled that, your uniqueness is what brings value to certain teams in the organization. And if that's not a right fit for you, then you need to move on. But you have to channel that value and believe that you bring that value to the organization or to any team or, to whatever you want to apply it to. But that was probably the most important mentor that I've had. And it really put me in a position to to excel my career at the right time. There have been a lot of other mentors along the way, and it's really individuals that I would see in the industry or throughout my life in different aspects, whether personally or, professionally, that I would really admire and, would see, speak, or listen to them speak, or meet them at a industry function or something like that. And just, wow, that person I think could really teach me a few things. And I would reach out to them, whether email or have a chance to chat with that individual at, a function or whatever. But you have to reach out to them. And I don't know that there's anyone out there that wouldn't provide guidance, wouldn't offer advice, would not offer to help you with any challenges that you may be running into. So that's really, if you're looking for that, it's really, sometimes you can get into it by chance, but most of the time you're going to have to reach out to that individual or individuals to ask for some guidance.
Yeah, that's a great point and lots of good advice there. Thanks, Lori. Next question is for Kathy. How have you built confidence or resiliency over the course of your career, and what do you wish you could tell your younger self?
I'm following Lori again. She talked about uniqueness, and for me, how to build confidence is really to find out what you have, what skill do you have that's unique to you. What are you good at? And whether that's, technical or you're super organized or it's right, whatever that is, figure out how to make that valuable for the people around you, whether your employer, your customer. It's all about like finding your niche. And then once you find your niche, and then it's easier to be confident because it's what it's what you know. And then you can build and learn new skills from there. But finding something within you that's valuable and then being sure that you present that to the people around you. To my younger self, oh man, I wish I was bolder when I was younger. I started out as a staff accountant and stayed in that kind of role for a long time. So I've only been in a sales role for about 8 years. And now, like, if I look at like my DISC assessment or something like that, why was I ever in accounting? It doesn't make any sense. I wasn't unhappy. People say, oh, you must've been unhappy. I wasn't. But yeah, I should have been bolder sooner. But I'll tell you, even going into a sales role for me, it took 3 times. So I didn't give up the first time when they went, yeah, no. And I said to somebody, I said, listen, I'm going to be the same person again. Help me get some skills so I'm better prepared next time. And that really did make the difference. It took 2 more times, but I got to where I needed to be. So find out what makes you different and be bold.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Okay, next question is for Melissa. What advice do you have for people who are trying to network, get more involved in the industry, and seek out mentors? This can be within or outside of your company.
Luckily, I think we're living in a time now where you've got so much social media, you've got so many outlets, there's so many support teams and groups that have formed in so many different areas as well. First and foremost, you have WIN. They actually have a mentor committee of wonderful, exceptional women who are available and want to support you, want to answer your questions, help you along, introduce you to people. So I would say absolutely take advantage of that. Become a member, research it, look into it. Also, you've got the Collision Repair Education Foundation. They also are a good source to go to. There's so many local things for us here in Georgia. We've got GCIA, the Georgia Collision Industry Association. Career fairs that happen throughout the year, whether it's at the schools. There's one going to be held in September at one of the churches here locally. So, and it's got an automotive section. So, there's so many outlets. Attend Skills USA. If you can't find somebody there, then you're going in with a blindfold on, because there are so many vendors there from across every aspect of this industry. We also have a North Georgia welding competition that a lot of the schools actually, they create. Most of the time it's a grill. There's a different theme. This year it's baby, you can drive my car. So they're actually, the students are going to build grills in the shape of different cars or car parts for the competition. Fronius is there and they give away a welder. So there's so many outlets like that. Talk to your counselor if you're in school to get you involved. We try as a company to go to a lot of the schools, make an appearance, tell them how wonderful this industry is, and that it's not. I think sometimes we get the stigma of it's all about repairing cars. Well, for us, kind of it is for in the collision side, but it's not just one topic. You could write estimates. You could be a back-end admin person. There's so many different roles. And I think that's part of getting the word out there to people, to let them know that we are here. There's a lot of businesses out there that offer free training on their websites, just trying to get people interested. So we go to craft fairs, believe it or not, and we'll set up booths for the local high school that I chair. And we try to get the kids involved that are coming by, or the parents, and let them know, hey, we've got these programs in these schools. There's nowhere you can make this kind of money if you are skilled and put the time and the work into it. So yeah, I mean, there's find a place to go work where the manager, you can find a technician to support you that will work side by side with you to teach you kind of what they've learned over the last decade or two in their role. There's so many outlets out there. I just encourage everybody to reach out and take advantage of it.
Yeah, definitely. That's one thing I love about our industries. There really is so many resources and networking groups available. It's just a matter of kind of figuring out what's out there and getting involved where you can. All right, next question is for Jamie. How did you balance challenges or changes in your personal life while balancing your career?
Oh, that's a fun question. I would say for me, it definitely looked different depending on what season I was in. So I had to step back and go, it feels a little bit easier now than it did in the beginning of my career. And so I kind of reflected back, and, there was a big demanding period where I was going to school full time. I had 2 very small children and I had a full-time job. I was kind of launching my career. And I remember during that season, I really had to step back and prioritize my activities and where I was going to focus my energy. And what I did back then that I still do today is I learned to take bite-sized approach, really starting with the end goal in mind, like where did I want to get to? And then working backwards to figure out what I needed to do to prioritize. And those were the things that I spent my energy on. And so it was really about focusing on the things that truly mattered and being intentional with my energy and my time. And I had to remind myself that I was in control, that the situation was not in control. And so it was a shifting of my perspective. But I also want to be very clear that it wasn't easy. But it is a time that I reflect back on that, wow, as hard as that was and the principles that I applied, I've been able to get better and better at applying those, because those seasons always come. And when I'm in the middle of them, I go, oh, I've done this before. I've conquered. What were the things that I did to help me get through that? And so for me, that's the biggest piece. And then just being flexible with myself. Like, I think, juggling things and prioritizing self-care and all of those things is really being flexible with yourself to go, okay, hey, this is where I am and I am in control, and how do I want to control this situation? And so that for me has been kind of the application over time that I've brought to every season I'm in. And I'm in one right now, and I had to remind myself this morning, you know what, bite-sized pieces. And so hopefully that gives you a little nugget. And it's definitely a practice that it's never going to go away. Just continue to refine it.
Yeah, I love that. And I think we can all relate to that as well, because we all have different times when, our priorities are shifting. Next question is for Lori. How do you adapt your leadership style to different team members or situations?
Yeah, so a leadership style, that's, for anyone out there that might be, just getting into, the industry and trying to figure out what you want to do. Leadership style, you can start thinking about your leadership style now, even though you may not be leading a team, because leadership style really shows up in so many different situations throughout your career. And kind of going back to Kathy's question, what I didn't know then that I wish I would have known then earlier on is to be focused on what, if you were a leader, what would you want your style to be? And I think, personally, you need to look at that. You need to think about that as you're looking to enter into your career and progressing in your career. You really need to think about what kind of leader you want to be and then be purposeful in applying that. How you apply your leadership style then really it varies based on, the individuals in the situation, and the teams that you're working with. But first and foremost, you need to really seek to understand. So if you've got some coworkers, you need to try to get to know them. You need to try to understand what makes them tick. How do they want information given to them? Are they just quick, give it to me and go, or do they need to process the information, right? And then maybe you can go back and get some more feedback after they've had a chance to process. So there's, we could spend all day talking about the ins and outs of leadership style, right? But it's really, the important thing is to seek to understand who your audience is, and then understand what the situation is, because your situation may drive what leadership style comes in, whether it's an emergency and you have to just quick act and give out orders, versus, a brainstorming session where you really want it to be collaborative and you're trying to lead people through, creativity and things like that. What I will say is you will not get it perfect anytime, but over time, if you purposely think about your own leadership style and apply it to different situations starting today, you learn over time how you can respond and how you can better lead, even though you may not be in that leadership position. So.
Yeah, great advice. Thanks, Lori. Next question is for Kathy. What skills or character traits do you look for in successful people within this industry? And what skills do you foresee needing in the collision industry in the future?
I really can't stress enough the importance of empathy, whether for a customer, a coworker, a potential customer, to kind of meet someone where they are, provide a listening ear, and help provide solutions. Like years ago, we used to say somebody got it, right? And if we said somebody got it, that meant they understood where I was and what I needed. And if you kind of combine that, and if you listen to everybody talking today, the one thing everyone has in common is they're passionate. You can hear it, their passion for the people they work with, the passion for the career. So if you combine like passion with getting it or providing that empathy, I think that's what a lot of people that have done well, maybe that's in any industry. I think that that's what people have, that someone knows you care, you're concerned, and you're excited about it. And maybe that sounds simple, but I do believe that those are the keys.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Next question is for Melissa. What role do you think men can play in supporting and advancing women in leadership positions?
So dating myself again, I can remember when it was unheard of to have a female GM or estimator maybe, but certainly not a body tech or a painter. That's just crazy talk. But now, there's a lot of stores that you go into where you walk in and it's mostly female. There's more and more females that are leaders in their companies. I think that ceiling has been broken. So I'm kind of, I don't know that I like the men versus women questions, I guess. I'm kind of skirting around that part, but I think it is up to us as individuals to decide our own path. You can do anything you put your mind to. Like I said before, training, throwing yourself into it. If this is truly, like Kathy said, your passion and what you want to do, I mean, go for it. don't get discouraged at setbacks. I call them challenges. Every time I see something, and I'm a procrastinator. I'm not gonna lie, we're all friends here, but I'm a procrastinator, and sometimes I'm like, nope, it is a challenge and it's one that I will succeed at. There is no failing here. And when I get I guess when I get discouraged, I'm one of those crazy folks that never liked school when I was in it, but if I'm overwhelmed, the first thing I'll do is go in and take a class of some, either a brand or iCar or something. I go in and I take a class, and it just kind of clears my mind, and then I go right back to the task at hand. So I think when you apply yourself to take training, stay up on social media as far as learning about what's going on out there, attend industry events, community events, just improve your skill, that you make a name for yourself. You're the one that's in control of that. You make the name, and then everything else will follow. It's crazy how it happens, but also all sorts of doors will start opening up for you at that point. People will notice that your skill level, your passion, your interest in this business, it all starts kind of shining through, and it's true. It's all these doors start opening up, but it's up to you to take that first step.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love what you said about looking at things as a challenge versus a setback. Sometimes it's just a change in perspective can make a big difference. Okay, next question is for Jamie. As an MIW, can you give some examples of how you are influencing other WIN members?
Wow, great question. And I would say that this is another piece of evolution, which is, hey, I think I'm doing some of it, but I know that I'm only on the ground floor, because being in this audience and just looking at some of the faces on here, like, wow, a lot to learn from many of you and to glean from. But for me, influence really comes from both action and connection. And so when I am at other industry events, I do seek out opportunities to engage with, maybe share why I'm there, and I seek out other WIN members. And so I know I did it at the MSO symposium last year. And now that I'm seeing the faces more and more, I'm coming to more WIN conferences and being more engaged in this community. I'm able to do that and kind of get to know people more and what they're doing, sharing more of what I'm doing. And so that's one way of kind of trying to stretch out that reach of influence, but also connecting with women who might be newer to the industry. I found that's kind of more of a sweet spot for me to kind of help bring them along, even though I'm a solid 3.5 years in. I'm 3.5 years further along than maybe somebody else is, or I have some other things to bring to the table from the other industries I've been in. And so again, it's about sharing some insights about my role, talking about the community more as a whole and bringing that broader conversation together. And then I would say the other thing for me, it's leading by example. So it's not always what we say, but it's in how we show up consistently. So coming to forums like this and being a participant in those, and when those opportunities come up to engage in other, WIN experiences, I look for those. And then outside of that, it's not just the current WIN members, but it's the future WIN members. And so doing some mentorship with some other ladies in the industry, I'm trying to take some of those opportunities to share what WIN is, share what we're doing in the industry, and kind of like, reaching that arm out for those other ladies that I'm mentoring. And so those are some of the examples in how I'm connecting and trying to influence more and more within the WIN community.
Thanks, Jamie. And I know everything that you do for WIN is very much appreciated. So that was all the questions that we had. I'm looking through the chat real quick to see if any were submitted, but if anyone does have questions, now is the time to go ahead and send those in. I did actually get one sent to me directly. How do you continue to develop and grow as a leader? Who wants to take that one?
Can you restate the question? Sorry.
Yes, no, that's okay. How do you continue to develop and grow as a leader? Oh, Melissa's got her hand raised.
I'll be the one to speak up. I think like that was just mentioned, lead by example for sure. Realizing that I'm not perfect, but I'm the best me that I can be. We have a new team member on our group for business development, and it's the whole, the positive attitude, making sure that everybody's taken care of, letting everybody know that you have their well-being in mind. Um, I struggle with time management. So that's something and delegating tasks. I will be 100% with you. I cannot stand to delegate tasks, and I'm getting better. But I think as long as you show that you trust them, you have confidence in them, and that you're there for them. I think that's the biggest piece, because people are so scared to mess up nowadays, or that they're going to make a mistake, and oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my job kind of attitude. It's like we all have to work together. You figure out people's strengths and their weaknesses, and you build the team around that. You figure out your company's values and goals, and you just kind of put everybody in their little role and work toward those values and those goals as a company. So I think you do have to be that strong leader to make sure that happens to succeed in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Did anyone else want to add anything to that? Jamie?
Yeah, I just wanted to tie in what Melissa was just sharing with something Kathy shared earlier about being bold. And I think helping people identify where their bold areas are, because I think sometimes when we're really good at something and it's just so easy, it doesn't feel special. While everybody else is looking around going, how does she make that so easy? It's because you're so good at this thing. And I think sometimes as a leader, when we can step back and help bring somebody along and help identify those. Thank you for that, Melissa. And thank you, Kathy, because that connected a big dot for me.
Yeah, for sure. Did anyone else want to add anything to that?
Just from what Jamie just said, is sometimes, everyone's skills are a little different. Like, I don't know, back years ago, I'm not as good anymore because it's kind of passed me by, but my Excel skills were pretty good, right? I'm in accounting. I have pretty good Excel skills, but I took up painting, they took us accountants and took us into a training room and we paint. And like, I leaned on a wet shell and like taboo, not allowed to do it. So I'd have sales guys come and they'd be like, oh my God, Kathy, I can't do that. And I'm like, yeah, I can't paint a car. Like, you know what I mean? So kind of realizing that everyone has different strengths and kind of letting people know, because sometimes they can get a little bit, Jamie's point, like, they're like, whoa, I can't do that. And it's like, yeah, all right, I can do this, but I sure as heck can't do this skill that you're good at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Any other last additions to that one?
Yeah, kind of adding on to that, it's really about, if you have individuals with all the same skill set and all the same personalities and think the same, you will not grow, right? You won't grow as an organization. You won't grow as a leader. You won't grow as, a team. So it is important, and to take a look at what your strengths are and apply that same mentality to other people in your organization or your team. And it's a constant learning process as new team members come in and out, right? And applying to make sure that those individuals fit. Because if as a team you're not succeeding, you individually won't be succeeding either. So it's making sure that your team understands that uniqueness and variability and just differences in everyone really is an added benefit to a team and not necessarily a deterrent.
Yeah, that's a great point. I did receive one additional question. How do you measure the success of your leadership? So who wants to take that one? Jamie.
So that one, this is the thing that keeps me up at night, right? I measure it by really looking at the impact I'm having on the people and also on the outcomes. And so I think for me, a key indicator is the growth and development of my team members. So seeing them take on new challenges, advancing in their careers, becoming leaders themselves. Those are big, significant markers of success for me. And I would say I pay attention to the team morale and engagement. So a very motivated, collaborative team that feels supported and empowered, that's a strong sign that I'm doing my job well. And then when I think about outcomes, I'm really assessing whether we're meeting our goals and driving results that really align with the strategic objectives, but it's not just about hitting the targets, it's really about how we achieve them. So for success, to me, it's really delivering the results while having a very positive, inclusive, and innovative work environment. And so at the end of the day, it's really about creating a lasting positive impact on the people I lead and then the organization as a whole. And so that's what success from leadership looks like for me.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Jamie. It looks like Lori's got her hand up as well.
Yeah, we actually, you have to build trust with, with your team or whatever first. But I ask them, I have normal one-on-one meetings with my team, and at the end of our conversation where, it's like, okay, what do you need from me? How can I help you? What challenges do you have? I ask them point blank, what could I be doing differently that would help you more? And that's one way. So when you start getting that feedback, pride aside, feelings aside, you got to listen to the feedback because they're telling you something. So when you actually act on that and then they start telling you more, it becomes more collaborative. To me, that's a success. And yeah, it's really about helping, our role is to help the team develop and accomplish goals, right? So when you see goals being developed, when you see or completed, and when you see your team come together, that for me is an internal, okay, we did that pretty well and things are rolling now. Still opportunities on many other things, but you have to keep finding those wins as teams.
Yeah, that's great advice. Did anyone else want to add anything to that one? All right. Well, I did not see any additional questions come through the chat. So I just wanted to say thank you to our MIWs for taking time out of your day to participate in this. And also thank you to everyone who attended. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.